Hey, this is Super Saiyan Ryu, and today I'm here with my friend SethTheProgrammer,
Yo,
and we're going to be talking about Xenoverse 2. We both finished up this game, and there's a lot to say about it. Um,
definitely.
yeah, for sure. It's a really good game. We're going to talk about, first off, we're going to talk about the story mode and what we thought about the storyline. Secondly, we're going to be talking about DLC. We're going to be talking about what we think's coming up and what we want to see. And then thirdly, we're going to be talking about the actual gameplay of the game because it has certainly been greatly improved and a lot of things added in. So, yeah, I'll start with Seth actually and ask him what he thinks about the story mode for the game.
Okay, so I liked the story. Like, I think it was pretty entertaining, and it was definitely a lot more difficult than the first game. Like, if I can say that. Um, like, for example, like the Cooler battle, like Cooler and Frieza, like tag teaming you on Namek. That battle was hard as fuck, and really, the game was just a lot more difficult than I really intended it for it to be. Like, you really have to like scale your levels and stuff. The ending boss is really badass, but I don't really like that they kind of rehashed a lot of the battles from the first game. But I guess they did, mix it up with like Turles and Slug and Timebreaker Bardock. But other than that, it was kind of similar to the first one in that sense. But yeah, other than the Timebreakers, etc. And I guess it was a decent game. Like I said, it was pretty fun to play. So that's all I have to really say.
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of those points, to be honest. I found that I noticed they reused some of the animations just like with better graphics, even.
Yeah, yeah, they really did.
Yeah, so they definitely did. They didn't waste material that they already had for sure. But I did like that they included movie characters. I think that was a good idea because they
Yep.
could have easily just gone the route of being like, oh, we're just gonna slap the rest of the super stuff in and that'll be it. But I think they definitely made the game better by adding in the movie characters and more timelines and stuff like that. So that was really nice to see.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
they came up with a bit more of an explanation, actually, in a few statements that were made about how the timelines work and stuff. And I'll actually put a picture of it up on the screen. But basically, what it was when you go off and you talk to Trunks at one point, he talks about how when there's changes in history, basically they create alternate timelines, and those alternate timelines are scrolls in the time vault. And he expands on this more and he basically states that these scrolls, what the Supreme Kai of Time does is she'll eventually, after they've been fixed and the alterations are fixed, there's still alternate timelines, and she basically puts them back into a single scroll. But at that point, even though they're no longer dangerous, those timelines actually still exist. So in reality, it turns out that there's more timelines, an unknown amount more, than even what you see in the time vault because they still exist even after she fixes them. So I thought that was really interesting that they elaborated on that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, like you have all those timelines with all their own time vaults, and all those time vaults have their own timelines, and would it just go on endlessly?
It's possible. I mean, we don't know for sure if it's literally infinite, but there's certainly a hell of a lot of them out there at least.
Yeah, so I mean, if the timelines connect that way, then the Dragon Ball, multiverse would in fact be infinite, which
And
is pretty
when you
interesting to think
think
about.
about it, theoretically, for every extra timeline, there would be more possibility for more characters that would create more timelines within that timeline. So it would just continue to increase exponentially forever. So I would say it's probably pretty likely that it is infinite. And I mean, we do have hints that are dropped at it being infinite. Like if you look at other games, if you think the timelines are eventually connected, you have things like Shin Budokai, which actually literally state that there are endless timelines. So there are hints
Right.
from other media as well that it could possibly actually be infinite. And when you think about it, I mean, certainly even a likely thing for this game.
Yeah, so I mean, how do you think this ties into the main canon of Dragon Ball Super? Like, do you
Well,
think the main canon has infinite timelines?
we know for sure that Xenoverse 1 and 2 are connected because they're talked about all the time in like
Right.
in Xenoverse 2.
Of
Um,
course.
Also, we know that it's fairly certain that Dragon Ball Online is also connected to Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2. We know this since the events that took place with Mira and Toa seem to also take place in Xenoverse 1 and 2, and they've been referenced, and the characters were created for Dragon Ball Online.
Yep.
Also worth noting is that Akira Toriyama himself actually created the Supreme Kai of Time and such, who is, by the way, also introduced in Dragon Ball Online. So there's a fairly high possibility that Dragon Ball Online is also a direct part to Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, and by extension, Dragon Ball Online was created by Akira Toriyama as the continuation to the end of Dragon Ball Z. So if you go through the whole set of, which is connected to which, then theoretically you can connect it to Dragon Ball Super. So there is actually a good argument for the fact that anything that happens in Xenoverse is basically able to connect to Dragon Ball Super through alternate timelines.
That's pretty interesting, actually. Well, I mean, how would you say exactly that they connect, that Xenoverse and Dragon Ball Online connect? Do you think it's like a retcon, like the Battle of Gods and, Dragon Ball Super retcon? Or do you think it's just like a previous timeline within it? Like, how do you think they connect?
Well, when I look at it, I see that basically the similarities are obviously the story behind Toa and Mira are the same. They basically, Toa created Mira in Dragon Ball Online. That's restated in Xenoverse. Also, seemingly the events of the Time Patrollers and the Time Breakers, they seem to have already started to happen. Like the Supreme Kai Time already knows about it in Xenoverse, so it seems like those events have already occurred in the past, which would lead you to believe that that would be talking about Dragon Ball Online, where they started with those events. So they do they imply that those events from Dragon Ball Online already occurred before Xenoverse. But of course, when you're talking about timelines and going back and forth in time, before and after kind of gets mixed up, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so they definitely do imply that Dragon Ball Online events had already occurred, and that the Supreme Kai of Time was aware of them within Xenoverse, and that, basically that they're connected in that way. So I would say that, plus the fact that Akira Toriyama is the one who created these characters, most of the new ones actually, created Toa and Mira first in Dragon Ball Online. He introduced the Supreme Kai of Time in Dragon Ball Online, and basically he put an actual design to her in Xenoverse. So I would say there's definitely quite a few connections for sure.
Yeah, and didn't Toa and Mira survive because Toriyama didn't want to see them die or something?
Yeah, he seems to like the characters. He seemed to want to bring them back. I know that he worked on Dragon Ball Online designs for years and years, so he was definitely invested in them for sure.
Yep. So going back to the story of Dragon Ball Xenoverse, the one thing I didn't really like, I don't know if you've played the secret quest yet or the last mission with Future Trunks.
No, unfortunately, I just finished up the final boss Mira fight.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not really a spoiler. It's more like a rehash of a fight you've already done. But you go back, and Trunks tries to help Gohan, okay, like fight the androids. And the androids, 17 and 18, while, Gohan's stronger than them for some reason, but Time Patroller Trunks, the same Trunks that trained with Beerus and Whis, gets destroyed by normal android 17 and 18. Like, Gohan's like, get out of here or else you'll die. Like, this normal androids defeat Trunks. And I noticed that there's a lot of inconsistencies, like a lot of plot-induced stupidity. And what's your thoughts on that? What have you noticed?
Yeah, that's one big thing with Xenoverse. There's a lot of plot-induced stupidity when you try to scale power levels and the power of the characters, because you'll have weird things happen, like you were just mentioning, Trunks getting beaten by them. I mean, theoretically, Trunks was able to fight and, not beat, but at least take shots from guys like Demigra and Mira and Toa, and he should be at least god level, but,
he's even stated stronger than Android 16 in the game itself.
Yeah, exactly. So there's things like that you just kind of shake your head at, especially when they're saying, in the actual movie and stuff, and the TV show, it stated that 17 and 18 were weaker in that timeline. So it really
so
doesn't make much
17
sense.
And 18.
Yeah. So things like that. But the thing is, that's in a lot of video games that you'll find. Especially video games where there's power scaling involved. you'll have lots of characters who can beat any other character any time of day. I mean, it's just, it doesn't make much sense often, but that's for sure definitely something that you don't want to see in a game that revolves around a story that's so set in stone when it comes to levels of power and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and what is it, like base Vegeta, like one-shotted Time Breaker Janemba?
Yeah, that didn't
Yeah,
make any. I was expecting to see Gogeta come in there, and I was expecting you would at least have to like team up with him or something, but no.
just base Vegeta. Like the game really tries to like solidify the fact that you and Vegeta are rivals. Like when you go to the Capsule Corporation, like Bulma's like, wow, you're like Vegeta's level, and you like train with him and stuff. And the game really tries to solidify that you and Vegeta are rivals. So like base Vegeta takes out Janemba, and then you can train to learn Super Saiyan with him.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense at all. I mean, when you think about it, it's like, okay, that would make sense if Vegeta was like post God Key or something, but it's
Right.
obvious that that was stated to be at the point where he had to fuse into Vegeto, so that's why he needed to go to hell. So there's just
Yeah.
no excuses.
Yeah, and in a video I'm going to be uploading soon, the time we proved that the Time Breaker boost is like phenomenal. Like it's insane. Like what is it? You know, for an example, Cooler was able to go to Golden Frieza level with the Time Breaker boost. Now imagine Janemba getting that boost, and then base Vegeta bodying him. Boost Saga Vegeta in his base form, destroying like Janemba with a greater than Time Breaker boost. Like it's
Yeah,
absolutely absurd to think about.
it's I think personally I would consider that boost not to be like an actual specific multiplier, but more like kind of like the Tree of Might type of thing. Kind of just takes them up to godly levels is what I would think it's more like, because it wouldn't make much sense for Time Breaker Golden Frieza and Time Breaker Cooler to be the same level if they had the same boost, unless it was kind of
Right.
like that, right? So I
I
think
think
it's probably more like the Tree of Might fruits as well, as opposed to. Well, then again, it came from that, didn't it? So it would make sense it would
yeah.
be, right?
Yeah, Mira stated. I think Mira actually implied that the Timebreaker amp was like them having their potentials like unleashed, like beyond their limits or something.
That'd make sense, because then it could be different for everybody, so that could be an explanation for why it seems so wildly different.
Although, I mean, wouldn't Janemba logically have more potential than like Cooler or Frieza? But I mean,
Well,
I
yeah,
don't-
he's like, if we look at, for example, Shin Budokai, he went to like multi-universal level, like started stretching across timelines and stuff, and he became pretty OP. But I don't know how that would work, because that was kind of like from absorbing evil energy. I don't know if that would count with just the Tree of Might fruit, but yeah,
yeah.
either way.
So, what about the gameplay mechanics? Let's get into that.
All right. Well, the gameplay has definitely been very, very well improved, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Xenoverse 1 is like absolute trash in comparison. Like when
Yeah.
I tried to play Xenoverse 1 the other day after playing Xenoverse 2 and beating it, and I just couldn't. Like I couldn't play it.
Oh, I know what you mean, man. It's like, okay, first things first, hit detection is way better. Way better.
Yep.
I like to see that, because in Xenoverse 1 it was almost impossible to set up good combos because of hit detection. And also you can more easily put in button combinations to extend your melee attacks, which I like, because you don't want to have to wind up juggling them with some sort of like spam attack and use that as a combo. It's just kind of stupid. So
It feels like there's an actual combo system
yeah,
now. Like you
exactly.
can actually combo. I think everything requires stamina to combo or ki, but
yeah,
it's-
most of it does, I think.
yeah, but it's still a lot better than just doing one combo, like pressing X and then Y at certain points in time, and then your combo's over. Like you can actually like continue your combo where you left off if you have stamina, which is, I really like.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I also like the new defense systems they've added in, like being able to attack at different angles really quickly. So if you have someone who just thinks they're going to get around by building a bunch of stamina and spamming the vanishing, I can't remember what it's called, like snap vanish or whatever it is.
Yeah,
But someone who does that, you can basically attack behind you and that kind of stuff right away to counter them. So I like that there's that, because that basically takes more reaction time and a little bit more skill to use, as opposed to just who has more stamina.
yeah, exactly. And of course, the most important part, no Super Saiyan spam.
Oh,
No
yeah.
more infinite key with Super Saiyan, which is awesome.
Yes.
And
No.
not only that, but it's actually like your own form. Like you don't get like taken out of it unless you have like no stamina, I believe. Is that
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I've never lost the form. I don't even know how you're supposed to lose it, but I certainly like
Yeah.
that a lot better. And the fact that they're all unique forms as well, I really like that.
Yeah. My main problem with the gameplay mechanics right now, and I believe this is getting patched, is the giant Namekians. So like say you're like on World Tournament and someone goes like giant Namekian and they have max stamina, like you literally cannot hurt them. Like if you punch them in the face, they won't flinch and they'll just keep fucking you up. Like you can't do anything about it. So I mean, but I heard they're getting nerfed. So I mean, the only bad thing I've really seen is the Namekian. And I'd say that they could slightly improve more, hit detection stuff. Like when I'm online and I'm like lagging a little bit, like the game really freaks out. Like it really can't handle lag that well. But other than that, it seems pretty decent compared to Xenoverse 1.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I haven't tried online yet, so I can't speak for the lag, but I do know that certainly when it's not online, it certainly runs very smoothly. So as long as they can fix up the lag, then it should be running great.
Yeah, exactly. And even when you're online, like it's still pretty decent. Like it's an okay.
That's good to hear for sure.
Yep.
And I would say another thing that I like too is the fact that they added in those different key blasts as well. I like having the choice between those.
yeah, definitely. I remember you like to do a lot of key blasts in Xenoverse 1, right?
Yeah, actually, I've switched up my style a lot. I purposefully made my character so he was like a melee build because I wanted to improve that, and it's definitely a good decision because without, infinite key or anything like that, you really don't want to just sit back and shoot stuff. You really need to get up close if you want to do good.
Yeah, exactly. And, I felt like Xenoverse 1 really missed the purpose of Dragon Ball Z. The type of fighting it has in Xenoverse 2 really portrays, that hand-to-hand fighting much better.
Yeah,
like, no
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
Because I noticed that
better.
In Xenoverse 1, it's almost like you were forced to spam key super attacks and stuff if you want to beat the bosses. But in this game, it's certainly possible and I'm not going to say easy, but you can certainly, with medium difficulty, learn how to be really good at hand-to-hand and take them on directly right in their face, right? Which is what you want to do in the game.
And I feel like they really amped up the counter hit. Like someone teleports behind you, you can just hit behind you, and you can catch them. I really like that feature. I didn't really that
me
too
too.
much in the first one. I feel like they amped it in this game, but yeah, it's definitely a lot better.
So yeah, for sure, the gameplay, I think we can both agree, has been improved tremendously, and it seems like they have no plans of stopping the improvements, so I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Raging Blast 2 had better fighting mechanics, but I will not complain with this. I still think it's good. I actually think this is better than Raging Blast 1.
Yeah, for sure. I remember Raging Blast 1. I enjoyed that game, but like you said, there were a few things that were a little off with the mechanics. And then Raging Blast 2, they improved it some more, and that was definitely fun. I remember playing that as well. So, in my opinion, this game is right up there with Raging Blast 2 in terms of mechanics. And then, of course, when you have customization and the characters and the story and all that, I think it's a lot better even.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say, like I said, though, Raging Blast 2, like the entire game was dedicated to the fighting mechanics. Like even in the trailers, like we really worked on the fighting mechanics. But then the thing with Xenoverse 2 is like it has good fighting mechanics. Maybe it's not 10 out of 10, but it has good fighting mechanics. Like, it's a really decent game. And on top of that, they have character creation and a massive pool of characters and moves that you can give yourself other than that. And it's just a really creative and fun game, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I think the replay value is just amazing on it. And, we'll get into this a little more later, but considering the amount of DLC they're planning, I think it's going to be even more replay value.
Oh, yeah. You can replay the game, like, with each race. That's at least 5 playthroughs, and there's, like, different dialogue for each race, and it's just really interesting to find it all out.
Yeah, man. When I'm thinking about it, I probably spent, to get to the point where I beat Mira, I probably spent about 10 hours around there, right? So if you replayed that with every race, that's like 50 hours worth of story alone.
Yep, and then all the parallel quests, getting all the characters and all that. It's really fun.
Exactly, it's just a lot.
So for DLC, what do you have in mind for DLC?
Well, we do know a few things about what's coming out for DLC so far. What we know so far is in DLC 1, they plan to have Frost and Kabe in it.
Hmm.
So we can look forward to that for sure.
Hmm.
Also, I did notice that there was a video about some data mining that happened on Xenoverse 2 on the PC, and it was stated that there's also going to be a new form for Goku. They think it's going to be, or at least the theory is it's probably going to be Super Saiyan Blue Goku with Kaioken as one of his transformations.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we can probably, they're pretty sure it's going to be that from the data mining. And then there's also another character slot with an unknown character in it, so there's probably going to be a third character in the DLC as well.
Hmm. Uh, so that's the DLC as far as we know.
Yeah,
I mean, Frost and Kabe. I mean, they're like like it's all right.
yeah.
I'm more interested to see what kind of clothes and moves you can probably get from that DLC more than Kabe and Frost themselves, unless they're super monstrously good, which I don't think they'll be stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Goku. But the moves and clothes we'll get from that will probably be really beast, like some Universe 6 clothes. Um, in my opinion, I might see a Champa coming in the future.
Yeah, I think they definitely will put in Vados and Champa. I couldn't see them not including them in at least in the DLC. To be honest, I was expecting them to have them in the game initially, but I mean they're at least going to come in the DLC. I'm pretty sure because they already have Beerus and Whis in there. So I mean,
Mhm.
creating those two, they basically have to do some edits to those characters, change a couple moves, and it shouldn't take them a lot of time to be honest. So I see no reason why they couldn't include those two as well.
So what I am seeing personally is that DLC 1 will be the what is it? It'll be Universe 6, and I think that DLC 2 will in fact be like the Goku Black arc.
Yeah, I'd
What do
agree.
you think?
I'd agree
Yeah.
100%. I think also Hits are already a character that you will get. I haven't gotten him yet, but I'm pretty sure he's a character you get in the initial game. So I think DLC 1 will definitely wrap up Universe 6 arc. We might actually, because I know there's going to be story. There's going to be story parts to it as well, right? There's a
Yep.
good possibility they may even introduce some sort of new villain or something like that. Crossing my
Mm.
fingers, it's going to be Demigra coming in his new form, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So
So
I'm gonna say that there's a good possibility we'll actually see a new villain make his first appearance in the DLC one in some way, shape, or form. Like, obviously, you're probably not going to fight him in that, but you'll at least see him probably within the context of the part of the story they're going to include in there.
yeah, so my theory is that DLC 1 will be Universe 6, and DLC 2 will be the Goku Black arc. And the reason I think that Goku Black the DLC is coming is because we know that they said Goku Black will not be a pre-order exclusive, that he will be obtainable with DLC in the future, if that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, for sure. They're
So I
gonna.
mean, that definitely tells me that there is a Goku Black DLC theme at least. That might mean Zamasu, and if we're really lucky, you can even get that fusion Zamasu, which I really doubt. But I think maybe even Super Saiyan Rose Goku would be really nice to have in the game.
Yeah, I can see DLC one, like you said, is definitely going to be Universe 6. We already know that pretty much set in stone. DLC 2, they're at least going to put out Goku Black for everybody, as well
Yep.
as, I would say, at least Zamasu and Super Saiyan Rose. I
Mhm.
couldn't see them not putting those out for then because, I mean, obviously they've been around now for a few months and they've already created Goku Black for the game
Mhm.
as the pre-order DLC, so they're clearly been working on it even before the game was released. So for
Oh
DLC
yeah.
2, I'm gonna say that we'll at least get Goku Black, Zamasu, and Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. Um, I would say it's like you said, it's possible we could get the fusion. I don't know if they'll put it in that early. They might want to wait till DLC 3 for that. But
Is there a third DLC?
they said there's going to be at least four, so we know there's going to be at
Really?
least four. Yeah,
Four DLC? Oh
at least
wow,
four in the next year.
interesting.
So we already know that they're at least planning for four, as well as some free DLC in between.
So what I'm thinking is that 1 and 2 will be this Dragon Ball Super arcs, and 3 and 4 might be something unique and original.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility. In fact, I
And
think that would be nice to see. Like maybe if we had number 1 was Universe 6, number 2 was Goku Black Arc, number 3 could maybe finish up the Goku Black Arc and start an original one, and
like
number
a
4 could,
part
finish
1
up
and
the
2.
original one, right?
Yep.
I think that'd be really good. But yeah, we can definitely expect it to finish up Goku Black Arc for sure, and I definitely think they're going to have some sort of original, story content within those 4 DLCs as well. I couldn't see them just, rehashing Dragon Ball Super and that's it, because when you look back at even Xenoverse 1, which they weren't as heavy into putting new content in, they still tried to include part of the original storyline with the GT stuff, right? So
yeah. So what I'm really hopeful for is that in Dragon Ball Heroes, your creative character could go Super Saiyan God. And in Xenoverse 2, I'm really hoping that, DLC, at least, even 4. Because, in Xenoverse 1, they gave you the Mystic form if you got the DLC. With Elder Kai, you'd have to get DLC for that. I'm hoping that they would, hey, if you get the DLC, you can become Super Saiyan God with your creative character, right? I think that would be really, really interesting.
yeah, that would be actually amazing to see. I know a lot of people would like to have that, and like you said, it's in Dragon Ball Heroes, so I mean, it's certainly already a possibility. I know I was actually reading an interview on that. They were talking to, I can't remember his name, but someone who was working on Xenoverse game, right? And
Yep.
they asked if Super Saiyan God would be a transformation, and he basically said if there's enough demand for Super Saiyan God, then he'll definitely think about it, but he wants to make sure that he can make it balanced with all the other races.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about it. Because Super Saiyan 3 is already stronger than all the other forms, except for Namekian, which needs to be nerfed.
Yeah.
But I think with Super Saiyan God, what they can do is, how the golden form, it doesn't even necessarily like raise all your power. It just kind of gives you like a specific stat that's really high.
Yeah.
They could even do that with Super Saiyan God. Like maybe like Super Saiyan God just like raises your attack power beyond belief or something, and not really any of the other stats. Kind of like the golden form does your ki blast.
Yeah,
I think
that
that
would
would be
make sense
interesting.
to me. Maybe just make it kind of like the same as Super Saiyan 3, except make one of the stats or one of your actual like physical abilities different or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Even if it's like lower defense, but all your attacks are heavily increased, that would still be interesting for me.
Yes, you become laser level when you use it.
Exactly. That's how Goku was defeated, clearly.
Yes.
So, anything else you wanted to discuss about it?
I think that pretty much covers the game. I mean, like I said, I haven't finished up the last extra parts. I'm not sure how the story mode was, with Super Saiyan 3 Bardock and Hit and stuff. I don't know how that went, so I don't know if there's anything you wanted to talk about that's worth noting about those parts.
Yeah, you guys have no idea how excited I was when I learned. Okay, so I was like, Timebreaker Bardock's in the game. That's pretty sick, because Bardock looks awesome with his mask or whatever. And then I learned there was Super Saiyan 3 Bardock in the game, and I had fangirl, like dead ass, like it was amazing. And then I learned he beats up Mira, like you take on Mira as Bardock. It's really interesting, and the fact that they went to detail to put those extra missions in. There's one thing we did miss, and that is the expert missions. I don't know if you've played any of them.
I've only played the ones that they force you to play when you first learn about them. I haven't done like the extra missions yet, or like the side missions and stuff.
All right, now people that have played the expert missions know what I'm talking about. It is absolute hell. Like, it is the most difficult thing. Now I see why they force you to have teammates. Like, it is absolutely hell. And the only problem I have with it is that sometimes they'll launch like a death ball at the planet or whatever to blow it up, or it doesn't really blow it up, but it just hurts everyone there. Sometimes it glitches out to where like if you shoot an attack at it to like force it back, it doesn't even do anything. It like glitches out so nothing can push it back, and you all just die because no one could do anything. So that's a glitch I have a problem with. But other than that, the difficulty is definitely post game. That's really exciting. Like Timebreaker Omega Shenron is an absolute beast. But other than that, that's all the thoughts I have.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that. I might even talk about that again if I have enough things to say about it.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Trust me.
So yeah, other than that, I will say one thing though. I am disappointed that they didn't bring back Demigra. I definitely think that with that new form, he definitely has a lot of potential. So I'm crossing my fingers they're going to have him in the DLC. I think that could be really
Yeah,
interesting to see.
he's gonna be the DLC villain. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
I
yeah, for
guarantee
sure.
it.
I couldn't see them wasting that opportunity, to be honest.
Yep, and they already have the design for it, and in DLC 3 and 4, I can also see that Xeno Goku will be involved, and even
Yeah,
Timebreaker Vegeta would be because they already have Timebreaker Bardock in this game. Timebreaker Vegeta wouldn't even be out of place. So
yeah,
I
it
think
makes sense.
Timebreaker Vegeta and all of them will be in this game at
Oh,
least
you
in
know what
by
would be
DLC
sick
4.
if they had Timebreaker Vegeta and Xeno Goku with Super Saiyan Blue.
Oh yeah,
Could you
like a
imagine?
little quest where you have to fight like that. Yeah, that'd be pretty sick in my opinion.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to
That'd be
this
dope.
DLC though a lot because I mean, like I said, it's already known that they're at least gonna have 4 plus extra free stuff. So I mean, when you think about it, the last Xenoverse one with the GT stuff that ended within 2 DLCs, and the third one there wasn't even extra story. It was just the characters for Golden Frieza, Super Saiyan. Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, and there
Hmm.
was, I mean, well, I suppose there was technically some like side mission story, but there wasn't like a main story for it, right?
Right.
So, I mean, considering it might as well have been 2 that had story, and we're gonna have double that amount because they've already confirmed the story for 4 of them. So, I mean, we really have a
Yeah.
lot to look forward to for sure.
Not to bring up Super Saiyan God again, but I think a way they could balance the form is that they could use it has like a time limit, right?
Yeah, that's a
It-
good idea, actually. Maybe
yeah.
make it like the old Super Saiyan was, where your key constantly drains.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's constantly draining, so you have to constantly do so like even on like multiplayer, it'd be really ineffective honestly, like cuz if you have to charge, then like your opponent can always like take advantage of you.
Yeah.
So it's like um so it'd be mostly like a story thing and it would still be balanced even
Yeah,
if it
and it,
was
it
super
would work
powerful.
only as like if you were doing team matches and like someone was holding off an opponent and you used like an ultimate attack when you're like super powered up or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's how they could balance it in
I
my
could see
opinion.
that. That'd work for sure.
Yep.
So I think that pretty much covers everything on Xenoverse 2, unless there's anything else you think we should discuss while we're at it.
Nope, I think that's about all. Pretty good game in my opinion. Definitely better than Universe 1, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I would say easily a solid 8.5 or 9.
Yeah, that's what I was going for too.
Yeah, so those are our thoughts on Xenoverse 2. We'll probably have more videos about it in the future. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to discuss in it, so you can definitely
Yeah.
count on hearing more about it. So yeah, I'll leave a link to Seth's channel in the description below for you guys if you want to check out his videos.
Thanks for having me.